31, Riana Pangindian. Hi, Riana. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. Thank you.
Riana is a model, licensed teacher, and a business owner. And the question I would like to ask you tonight, Riana, is what would you tell students right now who are struggling with online school?
For all the students who are going through the online classes, as a licensed teacher, I understand the struggle of learning through this new normal because it is something that we are not used to or familiar. But I hope that you hang on there and make sure that we all, as a one nation, let's all make an effort to eradicate this pandemic so that we can go back to our face-to-face classes. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Let's all hang on together, Miss Riana Pangindian. Now let's get to meet candidate number 17, Dannah Joy Tempra. Dannah, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks for asking. And Dannah, if you would want to know, is a model and is the reigning Miss Cuyamis. Now, Dannah, what exactly is Miss Cuyamis and how did becoming Miss Cuyamis prepare you for the Miss World competition?
First of all, Cuyamis stands for a sweet variety of coconut that is rich in Misamis Oriental. We celebrate Cuyamis yearly to serve as a thanksgiving of bounty and its amazing potential for growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you're bountiful here tonight as well in the competition. Round of applause again, please. Miss Dannah Joy Tempra. Moving on, we have candidate number 43, Ganiel Krishnan. Ganiel, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm very excited for tonight.
Wow, and you're in a profession that is close to my heart, and that is journalism.
Yes, I am.
So, Ganiel, I'd like to give you a chance here tonight. If you are a reporter reporting about tonight's Miss World competition, I'd like to ask you, Ganiel, to you here right now, what are the highlights of tonight's competition so far?
RJ, sa mga oras na ito ay tuloy-tuloy na nga ginagawa ang Miss World Philippines 2021 sa Subic Bay, Zambales. Talaga namang nagpasiklaban, nagpatalbugan at nagpagandahan ng 45 na candidates ngayong gabi. Pero alam mo, RJ, sa totoo lang, hinihintay rin ng ating mga supporters, mga fans sa iba't ibang kandidata ang isa sa tinatawag nga nilang mamamahayag sa loob ng kandidatang ito. Alam mo, meron kaming engineer, merong estudyante, pero alam mo, meron ding journalist ngayong gabi. Yan nga si Ganiel Krishnan. Tingnan natin ko siya nga ang mag-uuwi ng kampiyonato ngayong gabi. Balik sa iyo, RJ.
Maraming salamat. Mukhang mawawala ng trabaho ngayong gabi. Ganiel Krishnan, number 43. Maraming salamat. Moving on quickly, we have candidate number 29, Palmares. Now, Anne, I can... Now, as I look at you here, Anne, tonight, you've got the physique of an athlete, and I realize that you're actually a football player. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I want to ask, as a football player and as an athlete, how did that contribute to your competition here right now? How did it make you a better candidate for Miss World Philippines?
Well, being in the pageantry and athletics as well is similar because it takes discipline. And I'm so proud that we 45 candidates had that discipline to show to the world our purpose and that we make it a good world one at a time. Even the small change can do big. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, and we hope you score big here as well tonight. A round of applause, please, Miss Anne Palmares. Moving on, we have candidate number 10, Michelle Arceo. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm fantastic tonight. How are you doing?
I'm fine too. Thanks for asking. And you've got a very important profession, especially right now during the time of the pandemic. You are a model and a bartender. Okay. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you were to make a cocktail for me right now, what cocktail would that be and why? Especially as we celebrate Miss World Philippines.
Well, there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of different varieties, and I think you're a man of taste. But I think I would go with red wine for you. It's very simplistic, but there is so much depth to it, and there's so much variety, and you can go and drink it in all sorts of environments, either a social gathering with your friends, if you want to unwind at home, absolutely anywhere, and it's absolutely delicious. It's sweet and a little bit spicy with some undertones, and I think that was the best option.
I didn't realize how deep and rich red wine was until I heard from you. Again, a round of applause, please, Miss Michelle Arceo. Moving on, we've got candidate number 27, Trisha Martinez. Aha, Trisha, I understand you belong to a very important profession, especially right now. She is currently taking up dentistry. Now, Trisha, I've got a very important question. I've got young kids. It's very hard to go to the dentist here right now, especially during this new normal. What would you advise kids, teenagers, parents right now who have to make sure that they maintain their kids' dental hygiene at home?
I would tell those children that I am once like them. I grew up having crooked teeth and it affected my self-confidence. And I would tell those child that please do take care of your teeth, and there are dentists who are willing to help them, and I am one of them. And I want them to feel the same empowerment that I felt when I had that confidently beautiful smile. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A frontliner dentist right here, Trisha Martinez, candidate number 27. Moving on, we've got candidate number 41, Samela Godin. Aha. Samela, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, RJ. I'm good. How about you?
I'm very excited to ask you a question because I found out that you are not only a professional teacher, but you are also an events coordinator, and events is very close to my heart, being a member of the events industry, particularly the wedding industry. So I want to ask you, how would you deal with a runaway bride in your wedding if that ever happened to you?
RJ, you know what? There's no perfect wedding. We're not capable of what's gonna happen upon that situation. But it's a tough situation. But what I would offer to my runaway bride is a shoulder to cry on and an ear to listen. I will not judge her. I will not judge her, and I will just listen to her, not just a coordinator. I will talk, understand, not just a coordinator, but also a friend that's willing to help.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Samela. It's very good because at least they can't run away very far during a pandemic.
I hope so that I will not encounter that.
Okay. Again, thank you so much, Miss Samela. Candidate number 41. Moving on quickly. We've got candidate number 8, Emmanuelle Vera. Miss Vera, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us over here. Now, I understand you are a very talented individual. You are both a singer and an actress. What I want to know is, how does both your careers in singing and acting complement each other? What have you learned from singing that you bring to acting, and what you bring from acting into singing?
You know, singing and acting are both very fulfilling to me as someone who I feel like I was created to entertain and to perform. And in order to entertain effectively, you must bring a degree of authenticity. In both music and in acting, you offer yourself, a vulnerable being, for other people to not only relate to, but also offering them an outlet of emotions that they can listen to, songs they can listen to, movies that they can watch repeatedly that help them to process through the various emotions and seasons in their lives. So basically, what they have in common for me is number 1, fulfillment, and number 2, relatability to people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was quite a mouthful. I love it. Authenticity and vulnerability. Again, thank you so much, candidate number 8, Emmanuelle Vera. And now we have candidate number 38, Kathleen Paton. Now, Kathleen, I like this one. Kathleen, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm wonderful, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine as well. And Kathleen, I understand you work as a commercial model, but you're also a staunch supporter of the CNAG Foundation. Now, please tell us a bit more about CNAG Foundation and why the CNAG Foundation advocacy is so important for you.
Well, I think education is a right of every single human being, and especially of that of a child. I've experienced firsthand as I grew up living in Aklan, and I attended public school, and I can see children not attending schools because of poverty. So
My family and I opened up started a not-for-profit organization called the CNOG Foundation, and we aim to uplift economically the community by providing free access to books and educational resources. And by that, we created a library. So that is why I'm a staunch advocate for education as well.
What a wonderful advocacy. More power to you, especially during this time of the pandemic. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very
Miss
much.
Kathleen Paton, candidate number 38. Moving on, we've got candidate number 16, Ana Carlos de Mesa. Miss Ana Carlos, very interesting. I love your background. You are a CPA, a certified public accountant, and a professional model at the same time. Two careers that usually don't seem to gel together.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, you know what? I took up accounting, and for me, it was truly nerve-wracking, and sometimes it cannot be interesting. What do you love about being a CPA that gives you the passion to be a CPA day in, day out?
Well, it is actually hard for me to become a CPA. It was such a huge struggle, but then it became my passion because I know that I could serve a huge audience. I will be able to serve the public, and that is what I am doing right now. I am of service not just for my clients, but also for the people that my clients serve, and that is something that I really treasure about being a CPA.
Thank you so much. Service and beauty with a purpose. Again, thank you so much. Moving on, we've got candidate number 14, Gwen Fourniol. Gwendolyn, good evening. How are you? Now, the interesting thing now about Gwendolyn, let me tell you, she is a commercial model and she is also an English and a French teacher at the same time. And she hails from Himamaylan City, Negros Occidental. Now, first of all, show us a bit of the French here right now. Can we hear a bit of French? Maybe you could like to greet everybody here in French?
Bonjour, ça va tout le monde? Je m'appelle Gwendolyn Fourniol.
Wow. And aside from that one, we haven't had a chance maybe to know or have been to Himamaylan in Negros. If we were to visit your hometown, where would you bring us and why?
Thank you for that question. Well, Himamaylan City is a very close place to my heart. Growing up abroad, I was always traveling, and the place that I would take you to is the beach. Because I love traveling, but there is nothing better than going to the beach and relaxing, taking a breeze, and Himamaylan City is the perfect place for that. And it's a place full of diversity and multicultural places. Thank you.
Merci, thank you so much to Gwendolyn. We have next our candidate number 1, Lea Macapagal. Leah, thank you so much for joining me over here. So, Leah, from what I understand, you have always been candidate number 1, coming out first in almost all during the whole Miss World pageant. Now, some people would say that being candidate number 1 can be a disadvantage. Like if you were in the Squid Games and you were candidate number 1, that wouldn't be good. But then it can also be an advantage at the same time. How did you find being candidate number 1 all the time? Was it good for you? Was it bad for you overall?
Well, to be honest, being a candidate number 1 is a tough job because you would always be the point of comparison. You have to have a recall to all the people who are watching, especially to all the judges. It might be a disadvantage for some, but for me, this is my winning strategy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, number 1.